Welcome back, guys. Today re level how to create your own mini budget using Microsoft Excel. Excel is a very powerful tool which you should measure for anything that you can think of. I think especially numbers wise, it's a very powerful tool. So let's get into it.
So starting off, we are going to highlight column G all up until column M, and then we move over to merge and center, then wrap the text that we are about to put in there, the text being my simple budget table. Next, we are going to fill in the cells, which would include salary and all the expenses that any household might have. These expenses, they include your food, your rent, your electricity. This is what each and every household has. Or maybe if you are a bachelor, you do pay water and you have some debit orders that run off on a monthly basis. There are transportation costs as well, and from transportation cost, obviously some entertainment is something that we all need, but as much as we entertain ourselves, we need to save. So savings are a big priority right now. And then with all that, we type in the total and then the extra that might be left. Having paused the video there, I filled in all the amounts for all our expenses that we might expect. Now we go over to our salary. This is just an exaggerated amount, that being 10,000 rand. Say that you earn 10,000 rand. Then let's expand that particular column, which is column I, and from there we are going to add all the expenses up so that it gives us an auto sum of how much everything will cost. Coming down to the extra, we are going to calculate J4, which is the salary, and J15, which is the total, to get an extra that might be left after paying all our expenses at the end of the month. One thing that we forgot to do was to change the accounting format of all the digits that we put in. Remember, we are working with South African rands, so we are going to change that into South African rands being an R, which stands for the rand. We are then going to highlight everything and we move straight to our borders, which we are going to border all our expenses, including all the amounts there. This is just making a good spreadsheet so that your spreadsheet looks much nicer. So you can choose to do it or not to do it. We are then going to highlight all the expense amounts and then move over to conditional formatting, and we move over then to color scales, where we are going to choose different types of color scales for our conditional formatting. We are going to take the second option, where the second option highlights the bigger amount in red and the much smaller amount in green. As you can see, the big amount is 1,900 and the small amount is 500. So then let's continue with adding more aesthetics to our spreadsheet. The total, we are going to put that as a red, then the extra we put that as a green, and then as we put that as a green, we put our salary in yellow. As we continue, all the expenses will be in blue. These are titles of our expenses. Continuing with our aesthetics, as you can see the title, then the font, we change the font of the title up to font 14, and then we change the theme color of that and also make it bold. Now for more exciting stuff, on the toolbar you navigate over to insert. We are going to highlight all our expenses and insert a 2D bar chart. As the chart is inserted, we then move over the chart to our left hand side for us to create a bit more space within the spreadsheet. As the chart is inserted and moved to your left, you click on over to the chart, which will then give you options. We click on the plus button and we remove the grid lines. Removing grid lines would be unticking the name grid lines. As we remove the grid lines, we then navigate up on the list to data labels, which will then give our labels some digits to work with that correspond with the expense titles. Now let's change our chart title. We're going to change our chart title to monthly budget. From the x-axis, we are going to delete all the digits that are there. We're then going to format the chart to be in a sensible and workable manner. So now we get onto the crux of what this lesson is about. Say now you are offered an increase at your work, and from earning 10,000 Rand you go on to earn 12,000 Rands, which is a 20% increase. And as you know, as the salary increases, all the other expenses increase as well. Starting with the rent will then increase over to 2,150, and as you can see, our conditional formatting changed to red, now it being the highest amount within the expenses. If you check carefully, the extra also went up as the salary increased, but then fluctuated again when the rent increased. So is the total. So total and the extra will fluctuate as and when the salary or expenses are increased or we add more expenses. So now the water increases, the entertainment increases, as we all know that we do need some entertainment in our lives, and debit orders also increase. Debit orders can be anything from your funeral policies to your life covers to your fiber to your cell phone contract. your total and your extra are still fluctuating, and that also corresponds with the chart on the left hand side. Now let's say you get offered a new job, and with the new title it comes with a salary of 17,500 rands, and you can see now you are going to have more of your extra, and your total will remain the same. So with the new salary you opt to buy a new car, so you can actually add on the car as an expense within your spreadsheet, and you put in the amount. In this instance the amount would be 5,000 rand. It would be what you are going to pay for the car. The total will then increase and your extra will decrease. The transportation money will then be changed into petrol money, because now you're no longer relying on public transport, but you have your own car. With any other car you would need to add an insurance, so you go and add another cell, or maybe let's put it as another row, and add in another expense with it, which is your insurance, and the insurance then will be 900 rands. So that's about it for this lesson. The last extra thing that we'll do, we'll navigate over to the toolbar, onto view, and we remove our grid lines so that our spreadsheet looks a bit nicer. Thank you for watching this. Please recommend this to anyone who needs it, that might be your friend or any of your family members.